All right, welcome to part one of our real estate series. And today we're going to be talking about home appraisals with the one and only Dodd Harvey with Consensus Real Estate. Dodd, what's going on?
What's going on, Lucas?
How's it going?
I may be number one in the appraisal industry, but you're number one in the real estate sales department, right?
That means a lot.
Thank you for yours.
That means a lot.
The one and only.
That means a lot for me. It really does.
It's an honor to be on one of your
Yes.
series right there.
Yeah. Well, you're the first one, so we start with the best, right? So
That's right.
let's go ahead and get it going. All right. So we're talking about home appraisals. Before we get into that, Doc, kind of tell us about you and Consensus, when you guys started getting into real estate and all that fun jazz.
Yes. So in 1990, I was blessed with the opportunity to go to work for Milton Appraisal Company.
Yeah.
And at that time, you did not have to be licensed to do real estate appraisals.
What? No license?
No license.
Wow.
You had to be licensed to be a real estate salesperson, but you were not licensed to be a real estate appraiser. And that's where a lot of people had these designations, MAI, SRA designations, because they used to get those designations because that gave them credentials to do an appraisal.
Got you. Okay.
Then in the year right there around 1993. Okay. Guess what? They started issuing licenses for it.
So you had to be licensed at that point.
And you had to have 2 years experience.
Okay.
So guess what? 1990, I did appraisals, but I wasn't licensed. I got my 2 years experience, and then guess what? I was able to be a licensed, certified residential real estate appraiser.
There you go. So when did Consensus start?
Okay, so I worked for Milton 10 years.
Okay.
And in the year 2000, guess what? Don Pendleton, who does commercial appraisals, and Dodd Harvey, we became partners.
There you go.
Okay, so Don would do all the commercial, and I would do all the residential, and we worked out a garage, a garage apartment at Don's house.
Wow.
And I had one other guy, and his name was Rufus Gibbons.
Wow.
So Rufus Gibbons, Dodd Harvey, and Don Pendleton right there.
Sounds like that Amazon and Microsoft story you got there working at the garage.
We were. We just didn't quite make the money right there.
Well, hold on. That's arguable, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But all right, so let's talk about it, Dom. Home appraisals. Some people get appraisals confused. It's kind of foreign to them. What is a home appraisal in simple terms?
In simple terms, an appraiser is used to be totally unbiased to whatever situation there is. Yeah. So, for example, I may do an appraisal for the bank. Okay. And what that basically is, Luther, you just sold a house in Cornerstone, and the purchase price was $300,000. Okay? And the borrower was going FHA financing, which basically meant they had to put 3% down. Mm-hmm. Okay? So now they have a loan amount in the amount of $291,000. Yeah. So they go to the bank to get the loan, and basically what happens is the bank orders an appraisal to make sure that the house is worth at least the amount of the loan amount.
Yeah.
Okay. Should it go to default?
That makes sense. If they're gonna dish out all of this money, it only makes sense to make sure that asset or that piece of property is actually worth, like you said, that X amount of dollars.
That's right. Because with the least amount of money being put down, the risk of default is greater. So they want to make sure they're covered.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Totally understandable if you ask me. All right. So with home appraisals, right, there's different types of loan programs, whether it's conventional. You just mentioned FHA, which is very popular right now, by the way. USDA, VA. How do some of those differ? We don't have to go by every single loan, but an FHA definitely differs from a conventional appraisal. What are some things that differ between the two?
Okay. So government loans, VHDA, FHA, USDA, VA loans. Mm-hmm. The government is lending you money at favorable interest rates. You can get a rate cheaper for an FHA loan than a conventional. Mm-hmm. But part of that process is They do not want to lend on a house that has problems.
Yeah.
So a house cannot have scale and chipping or peel and paint. The roof has to be at least 2 years life expectancy. All the mechanicals need to be in working order.
Yeah.
Okay. So because of that, they don't want to lend and go to default, and then they have to take back in a house that needs all this work.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it can even be things like, cracked windows, or I've even seen some with like the loose railing headed into the basement. Things like a hazardous defect.
That's right. Safety issues.
Safety issues.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Now, typically on a conventional loan, they're not as strict as an FHA loan. Okay. The rates tend to be a little bit higher, but they tend to be a little less strict. And then, and if you have 20% down, it's easier just to go ahead and get a conventional loan.
Yeah.
But who has 20% to put down?
Hey, you do. You have 10 times that, don't you?
Yeah, Luther, Luther right there. So anyway.
Yeah, no, okay. So, okay. And I will say, like I mentioned earlier, FHA is a very popular loan type right now. They're favorable. Just throwing it out there for those that are watching. But to kind of switch topics here. So let's say I'm a homeowner. And I'm getting ready to maybe list my home in a year or two, and I want to make some improvements to my home to make sure when somebody like you comes out to appraises it, it actually increases my value. Some folks think just getting a new sink faucet or a new light fixture is going to increase their home value, which is not very true. So I want you to talk about maybe 2 or 3 things that can really help somebody increase their home value.
The biggest thing I see are kitchen and baths. Okay, that nice updated kitchen.
Yeah.
Those remodeled bathrooms. Okay, over the last 34, 35 years that I've been in this business, people have gone from each individual rooms to the open concept.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of older homes where they're taking out walls to give that nice open concept look.
Yeah.
They like the traditional style, but they like the open concept.
Yeah.
And you see that a lot in new construction now.
Yeah.
And even renovated older homes right there.
Yeah. Opening the walls and maybe put a beam at the top, or even something with the barn door, essentially to still open it up if you need to.
Yeah.
It's funny. I actually had some clients I met with last weekend, and surprisingly, they were more interested in the separate dining rooms and the den. So I don't know if it might be coming back, it seems like. But to your point, the open concept is still the more favorable.
That seems to be more favorable for the younger people.
Yeah.
The older people, listen, they're used to it. I like that. I like that formal dining room. How often do you use your formal dining room?
So we have these plates at our house. We have a table, and there's the plates and whatever cup that my wife has on there. We never sit on it. That's where I throw on my coat jacket if I'm in a run.
Yeah.
But we rarely ever sit in that actual room.
Yeah. So it's a wasted room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except for Christmas.
Yeah.
Christmas.
If we have some company, need some more space.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got you. So kitchens and bathrooms, updating those, maybe making it a tile bath, new cabinets, vanities, all that fun stuff.
That's right. Your cheapest bang for the buck is, if you need square footage, is to finish the basement. Okay? You can typically finish the basement far less. It's a whole lot cheaper than it would be if you put an addition on. And the reason why that is because you already have a ceiling. You already have the wall. You already have the floor.
Yeah.
Okay? It's just called interior finish out.
And you need to have a heat source. Am I correct?
Yeah. And you typically you need to have a heat source. And if the ductwork was down in the basement, open up and put a register there. Put supplemental baseboard electric heat there.
Yeah.
Put in a mini split.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are popular.
Those are really popular. They can take older existing homes with individual rooms, and you can put them in strategic locations.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Not like a little space heater that you kind of get from Walmart, but you need an actual that you can control type of heat source.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, gotcha.
I'll tell you the other thing. It's all about the curb appeal. You'd be surprised with a little bit of landscaping in the front of the house. You can tell, oh man, that your office today, when I rode up to it, it really looks good.
Hey, we appreciate that. We try to do a little something.
You've got that curb appeal. You have that aesthetic appeal there.
Yeah.
And that's what people like. So if you want to do that, make sure you have the outside looking really good. If you can, put that fresh coat of paint, refinish or clean the floors, make the house look good, and it'll just make it sell that much quicker.
That's good stuff. That's very important because some folks, like I said, they think it's the finishes, which it can help in a sense, but as far as really adding value, those are some great points. But yeah, that sounds good. I think those are my main 3 topics that I had in mind.
Yeah.
Of course, if folks have some more questions, again, I'm Luther Matty with Elite Realty. Again, Dodd
Harvey with Consensus Real Estate, and please feel free to reach out to both of us.
Yes, for sure. Hey, before we end this episode, I've got a few this or that questions just to kind of get a better feel for who Dodd Harvey is. So I'm gonna remember these off really quick, and you try to answer them as fast as you can. All right, first one: cats or dogs?
Oh, dogs.
Dogs. Okay, dogs. Summer or winter?
Summer.
Warm. Yeah, that's cool. Hit the beach or something like that.
Yes.
Text or call?
I call.
Yeah.
I love to talk.
Yeah. All these young bucks are texting nowadays. They got to get away from all that, don't they?
Yeah.
Comedy or horror?
Comedy.
Yeah. Of course you would say comedy. If anybody knows God, I actually like to watch horror movies, surprisingly. But
do you?
Comedy's good too, though. Ice cream or cake?
Both. If you can get this profile, I haven't missed a meal this year.
You said both. All right. Next, Batman or Superman?
Ooh, Superman.
Superman? Okay. Yeah, I can see that. All right. The last question, best for last. Hokies or Wahoos?
There's only one choice. Virginia Tech. No Hokies.
There you go. Hey, thanks, Don. I appreciate that. Yeah, thanks. Thank you.